What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Slumpestein. I'm coming at you guys with a new coverage video. So this past weekend we were in St. Louis for Anime St. Louis 2022. Really good time, good vibes. So let's talk about how that went and if I recommend it. So, like I said, we were in St. Louis, St. Charles this past weekend for Anime St. Louis. We got down there Friday evening at around 7 o'clock. Registration ended at about 8, so we were trying to get there before the registration ended. So we got there about 7 o'clock, and we were probably in the line for, I would say about an hour, and that was for pre-registration. So the people that were buying their badges at the con, I can't even imagine how long they're in the line. But man, it was a long line. There was a lot of people. They made a Facebook post yesterday or the day before that it was a huge turnout. So congratulations to Anime St. Louis, all the people over there. It was 7,500 unique attendees that last weekend. They were expecting 5,000 to 6,000, so you can kind of understand why the lines were a bit jam-packed. Although that doesn't, it doesn't really excuse the pain and suffering that people have. But yeah, there was a lot of people out there. It was a really big turnout. Now, if this thing continues to grow, I will say, man, they might have to, because I've had this thought in my head a couple of previous times. They might have to seek out a new event or do something. Something's gonna have to be done because it was a little bit overbearing at times. So yeah, let's talk about the venue a little bit. It is held in the St. Charles Convention Center, which is a very nice place. It's also NBC Suites on the back side of it. So there is a lot of room, but when you start talking about 6,000, 7,000 people or whatever the case may be, it starts getting a little cramped. Those panel rooms get really full, and we're going to talk about the panels a little bit later on in the video. But the first recommendation for me would be to have more signage. There wasn't much signage. You kind of just there were sometimes there was a convention staff, convention center staff around that you could ask questions to, but even sometimes they didn't exactly know. So I wish there was more signage around telling you where stuff is, how to get to different places, especially when you first get there, because you walk in and you don't really know what registration is. There wasn't really a sign pointing to it. But that's the first thing, more signage, or if there was signage, more visible signage. Next thing we can talk about is the vendor room. Since conventions have come back from the pandemic, the vendor rooms have been hit or miss. But this time, Anime St. Louis knocked it out the park. It was, I love the space that they have. The vendor room it allows for really easy navigation. Throughout the rows. Like I said, there was a lot of people there on Saturday, so it's a little bit stuff, but that's to be expected in a vendor room because people are stopping and looking at stuff. Then you have people that are taking pictures and looking at people's cosplays and stuff like that. Although for the attendees that are listening, if you want to take pictures of somebody's cosplay, move over to the side and do it. Don't do it in the middle of a row. Don't do it in the middle of a busy intersection. Just move over to the side, snap your picture, and keep going. It'll help out a lot, man. I'm telling you, it'll help out a lot. But you're gonna see a lot of video of the vendor room. You'll see some pictures. It was really nice. There was a lot of stuff there. They had a sword vendor. They had snacks. They had little bits of video games, and they had the big card sellers and nice artists selling their stuff. And then you have the guests off to the side. A couple of guests that I had just seen at SawesomeCon, Marcus Malden and Bill Butts, and a few others. A couple of them had to cancel due to some other reasons, but yeah, it was really nice. Vendor room was nice, guest list was nice, all that stuff was great. That was actually the high point of the convention for me, was the vendor room and the guest list. It was pretty cool. And then we're going to move on and talk about the panels. The panels was a bit of a disappointment for me. This kind of goes back to the venue size, because if you're not, it just sucked. And I understand, panels, you probably want to arrive there pretty early to get a seat. I understand that. And I do have one little frustration, not even a frustration, but a thing that I would recommend in the future for people that are part of the press that are covering the event, is to get them some type of press credentials. Having a weekend pass, walking around trying to take pictures or videos, or trying to get into panels just so I could take some pictures and videos, it was very difficult. When the panels start, they close the doors. So it feels kind of weird. I don't like to interrupt people and open up the door and walk in, and then they close the door, and then I have to interrupt them again, open up the door and walk out. The panels were packed. There was people sitting on the ground. Once it was full, sometimes they had, convention staff guarding the doors. People weren't coming in, obviously, because they're full. And then I have to explain to them, well, I'm part of the press. Well, you don't have a press badge? Well, yeah, I don't have a press badge because it wasn't issued. I just had a regular weekend badge. I'm rambling at this point, but it was a little bit of frustration. And I wasn't really able to get a lot of pictures and videos of panels because of that simple thing, just for the hassle of that. But I was able to get into a couple of panels. But like I said, they're so full at times, I wasn't able to take the pictures and videos and the quality that I wanted. I do have a few pictures of the cosplay contest, and that was really awesome. That was in a bigger room, so that was really cool. The whole vibe of the convention, though, as far as the attendees, the staff, it was great. And if you have watched my coverage videos in the past, you know that's a big thing for me. The staff and the attendees, when people are having a good time, then you can tell by the vibe of everything, including the staff. On Saturday they didn't have a dance party, so people grouped up outside by their vehicles, blasted music. There was people outside the convention with a speaker playing music, dancing around, having fun. It was a great time. Me and Mrs. Slumpensine stood out there, just soaked it all in. I got a couple of pictures of that also, and video. It was just a really good time, and really good vibe, and it was really fun. It was really fun. All the attendees that I encountered were very friendly. I had no problems with any of that. So really, really good time. My closing thoughts is that this was a bounce back year. This is a bounce back year for conventions in general, but Anime St. Louis, they really did a good job putting on a show for all their attendees, especially with the increase in attendance that they had. They dealt with it very well. They could have easily gotten flustered and everything could have went down the hellhole, but they stuck in there, got the registration pushed through, and they managed with what they had. And it was a good time. We had a really good time. It was really, really fun. I would probably say it's my most fun that I've had at a convention since the pandemic started. So that's big props to them. And I would definitely recommend that you go to this convention. It's a really good sized convention. We drove from Kansas City, so it's about a 3.5 hour, 4 hour drive, depending on how you're driving. So any distance but that, and maybe even a little bit further, I would recommend traveling. But yeah, I like I said, I recommend this convention to anybody that's seeking to go to one in the future in April. I think that they usually have it in April every single year. I don't know if they put out dates for the new one yet. If they did, then I will put that down in the description. I will also have links to their Facebook and their website down in the description below, so if you need to look at any information or like that, you can join the Facebook community, reach out to some of the convention staff and ask your questions, or if you have any questions for me, put them down in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, it helps out a lot, and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get notified whenever I go live or post new content. And with that, I appreciate you all. I'm gonna catch y'all later.